in my own thinking. Sorry about that. Welcome to episode 63 of A Fern Between Us.
I'm an owner, and my name's Jesse. This is Michelle. She's an owner.
And we are really out of practice.
And there's two other ones, Chris and Lily. They're somewhere else. How you doing, guys?
We are two of the four owners.
Two of the four owners of Vivac Winery.
And clearly,
we have a great show lined up for you today. We're going to do amazing.
We're going to do amazing things, at least. Let's see. We are tasting the Wine Club wines, Cabernet Franc and Montepulciano. So those of you that are in the club that are tasting along with us, cheers. Those of you that
cheers,
are
guys.
Just drinking something awesome while you watch us be ridiculous.
Also, cheers.
All right. Wow. So this once a month thing makes us a little rusty, huh?
No, I don't know. I think it's fun as well. So part of that we could have done better. Just even right in the moment. It's fun to just go off rail.
Anyway, we are doing another just once a month next month, and then as we get through the fall, we're going to return to a weekly episode. So that'll be fun. Mark your calendars for that. Some fun stuff going on here at Vivac. One of the important things is that currently our Santa Fe tasting room is closed. Sorry about that, guys. I know it's a bummer.
Yeah, currently maybe we're trying to figure it out. We're seeing what we're going to do here. But
it's either going to be back open, better than ever, or we're going to do something else. And one of those amazing something else's is Amio.
Oh, yeah, that's us, but it's also not us. But yes.
It's a great place to go and enjoy our wines,
in Santa Fe.
Our wines.
The only thing you can't do there is pick up Wine Club wines, because it's a separate business, but they're featuring primarily Vivac wines. It's a little wine garden on Canyon Road. It's awesome. Yeah, and we finally got approved for the liquor license, so as of like a week ago, or maybe it's been 2 weeks, but it's something like that. Go check them out.
It's an amazing, beautiful place to enjoy wine. They also have a selection of beers, and then you can continue on to your dinner at maybe the Compound or
Geronimo's.
Yeah, there's amazing places through there. So that's a really fun ability to get your hands on our wines. Mm-hmm. They're open 10 to 5:30 every single day. So that's now where to go. If you're a Wine Club member, we're trying to treat you extra special when you come up and pick up your Wine Club from the Dixon tasting room. So keep that in mind.
Yep.
All right, we've got happy hours back, which is fantastic. Live music happy hours.
Yeah, live music. Still wear a mask inside as per state law, but outside seating is normal and no mask required outside.
And you can order through a window if you don't want to put on a mask.
Exactly.
Pets are welcome back.
Pets are welcome back.
That was a big one for a lot of
you. Please keep them on a leash though, and hopefully they're not like a jerk kind of dog, There was one of those the other day. I was like, oh no, pets are back. I do love pets, but not the rambunctious kind.
Well, and you need to be thoughtful of other people. And there are people that don't like pets, and they still want to have a good experience. So on a leash, clean up after them too. That's a nasty surprise.
Mm-hmm.
All right, picking parties. We didn't have it last year, of course, because nothing happened last year. But this year, September 4th and September 25th, guest chef, lunch on our family patio, which also means we are with Jesse and Chris's mom and dad.
They are aging a little bit. I mean, they're aging beautifully, by the way.
Yes, but we want to keep extra care of them. Exactly. So it is a vaccinated-only event. I know that can be a little sketchy for some people that are not into doing that, but we have to protect them. We're using their kitchen, sitting on their patio. So if you're interested, call the tasting room or get online and order tickets through our website. Mm-hmm. You'll pick grapes in the morning and then get to party down. It is an amazing luxury gourmet lunch.
Yeah, we usually have lunch and it lasts a couple hours and all the wine you can drink. And we even give you a discount that day that you don't get normally. And
give you a tour and barrel sampling of the winery, which is really special because we never let anybody in there.
I'm so excited to have this back. Last year was such a bummer not to have it, but
yeah, because we had to pick all the grapes all by ourselves, which it is a picking party.
yeah.
We really need you to actually come and pick the grapes. So we need you. You're gonna have a great party afterwards. So.
Exactly. You end up working for your meal in a way.
Yeah, and also paying for the chef to come out.
Right. It's a great experience.
Exactly.
People love it.
Exactly, they do. We had people crying one year. They just felt like it was such an incredible experience.
I've seen that actually more than once. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, I know. Love it. All right, so now we are going to talk about the wines. Let's start with the Cabernet Franc.
Cabernet Franc. This one comes from Velarde, our Abbott Vineyard.
Yes.
Just down the road.
So very high altitude.
Yeah.
One of our few estate wines.
Good grapes. The grapes are amazing. The quality is amazing. You get a nice, good, clean, higher acidity wine while still being like robust and full-bodied, and it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous wine.
Great. And Cabernet Franc can be really tricky to produce too. So traditionally speaking, it was a Bordeaux blend. A lot of people really know it from the Loire Valley, where it's released as its own varietal-based wines, which are beautiful. And we actually had somebody, hi John, that was saying the other day, he was like, I sip this and I can't help but think it is from the Loire. Which is really exciting when people say that.
That's a high compliment. We here in the U.S. don't know a lot about the Loire, but the Loire has some of the best wines in the entire world. France knows it, but the U.S. market just kind of doesn't know it that much, so we don't see tons of them over here. But
yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, you can order sometimes some good ones off wine.com, or if you talk to your local retailer and ask them to bring something in for you. But I love that this is such a clean,
we make it
beautiful expression.
In a style similar to that, and it's a good place to get it stateside, and helps us out. So I like it.
And then there's also Canadian Cabernet Francs. That's a really big one. And then
New York.
And
New York has a lot of some Cabernet Francs.
Absolutely, some really nice ones. And then some of the more robust ones that we've had were actually in Washington. That is pretty interesting too. So some really amazing wines being made. Of course, ours is our favorite.
Cabernet Franc is one of the parents of Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yes.
The other one being Sauvignon Blanc. And Franc and Sauvignon Blanc crossed, and their baby is the biggest red wine in the world, the biggest wine in the world.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Cabernet.
Really incredible. And and one of the things, a lot of times it can have sharper notes. It's generally known for its green notes, its bell pepper, and kind of herbaceous qualities. And I think that this is a really well used, integrated. It's got really nice fruit. It has some of those classic characters, but not so pronounced that somebody would be turned off.
Yeah, not at all. Yeah, exactly. I think it's a good blend there.
I just did. So I saw that you got rid of your other glass. Can you reach it?
Yeah, and I think yes.
All right. So we are trying this against, well, not against, but comparison tasting is always fun. But we are now trying the Montepulciano. Again, that's the name of the grape.
I love Montepulciano. It's one of my favorites, and I feel like Chris and I have personally gotten better and better at making this. The expression is just lovely. Comes from the southern part of the state, the grapes do, and then of course originally from Italy.
Yes.
Italian wines are amazing.
We also need to talk about the big, Montepulciano grape versus Montepulciano.
The town.
The town is actually in the Tuscany region. It is a Sangiovese grape that makes that wine. And then in Abruzzo, which is a different region, they use the Montepulciano grape. So just to confuse the crap out of people.
Both can show up on a label. So if the one you're looking for is Montepulciano di Abruzzo.
Yeah, if you're buying from Italy.
Exactly, and that'll be the Montepulciano grape that you're looking for. But if you don't want to get confused, just buy it from us.
Yes, and
once again,
this one doesn't happen to have a label on it because
see, it's
I
nice.
stole it from the winery, and the
Wasn't
extra
labeled yet.
stash. But one of the things that I love about Montepulciano is it's often confused with Sangiovese. So there are similar profiles, but it's a little softer. It's like the Merlot to Cabernet Franc. It's
Or Merlot to Cabernet, you mean? Or yeah.
Merlot to Cabernet Sauvignon, a little bit softer on the tannins, a little bit easier on the palate, generally speaking.
A little fruitier-ish, or the fruit comes forward more, maybe.
Yes.
In general, sort of.
Yeah, I mean, we're sweeping strokes of generality here, but it does at least give you a comparison so that you can kind of understand what to expect. Our Sangiovese is one of our most popular wines, and for good reason. It's fantastic. It has won gold at competitions, and is, even though the price point is one of our lowest, it is just so incredible. You guys nail it every time. And also this one. I get more like bright cherry notes.
Yeah, and for us, for here in New Mexico, I don't put them in a similar category at all, honestly. But I guess you do.
Well, a lot of people do.
Okay.
So you're wrong.
I'm wrong, apparently.
No, I think they are very different. But these are nuances for a lot of people that are coming in not knowing these grapes.
Yeah.
So it's a subtlety. I feel like brighter cherry and softer tannins are the key element in a side by side to Sangiovese, which can be
to me this
really
has
intense tannins.
To me, this has a fuller mid palate than the Sangiovese. It's kind of got, I don't know, I get fruitierness than I do on the Sangiovese.
That's what I said.
Okay, cool. There you go.
Bigger, I said cherry specifically, but fruit, whatever you see in the glass is good. When you do a side by side, is there a favorite?
Not really. Cab Franc to me is more, it has more of those classic red wine flavor, the ones that we think of, because it's French, it's the Bordeaux varietal, it tastes like Bordeaux more. This one tastes more like Italy. The Montepulciano just tastes more like Italy, I don't know why. Even here in New Mexico.
That's
so
super
like that.
cool. I love that you guys nailed it, because not everybody that's making these grape varietal wines has that experience. So they can be really off of not a bad wine, but not varietally correct. I personally, just love the nose on the Cabernet Franc.
Yeah.
But I have also said on the show that Cabernet Franc is my favorite grape. So maybe I'm just falling into that. All right, we have questions.
Uh-oh.
Thank you guys for sending in your questions. We are starting Crush. It is the beginning of August. You guys get grapes next week, right?
Supposedly next week.
What are you looking to
Hopefully
bring
towards the end of the week, because we're not ready.
in? Surprise.
We're pouring cement on Monday,
Ooh.
which means you can't pressure wash your new slabs after using it, and you also want if there's greatness on it, that's super acidic and that eats stuff away.
Ooh.
So then it mixes with the lime of the cement.
Oh, interesting.
So we're hoping that it's hopefully we're fairly clean, and we can just do a light sweep it off and a little rinse, for that first week until it really, really sets up. But anyway, we think we're gonna get in Chardonnay and possibly some Riesling.
Oh, nice.
Because we're getting some Riesling from down south to help with our the amount of Riesling that we have from up north, and then the Chardonnay.
That's another one of our staples.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so for sure we'll get Chardonnay next week. I don't know about the Riesling, but yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So, being that it's crush season, we're doing winemaking questions. The first one is, do you guys use wild yeasts during fermentation? Why or why not?
Okay, so we always buy our yeast from very specific strains of yeast that have been specifically in order to,
one strain, you know what it is.
One strain, we know what it is. We know if it's competitive yeast or non-competitive yeast. We know if it's.
Well, hold on. What does that mean? So that I mean,
yeah, yeast is such a yeast is one, probably, if there's a winemaker secret, it's yeast. Yeasts.
I think this is so cool that you guys delve into this. I love it.
There's so many. There's millions of different strains of yeast. So like, when you get an apple off of a tree and you rub it on your shirt and it's shiny underneath, like it's kind of like, it's got like a dull patina, but then underneath like it's shiny. Same thing with a grape, same thing with lots of things. Plums have that a lot. So all that thing that obscures the shininess of the skin itself, so much of that is yeast. So like if you crush an apple or you crush a grape or you crush a plum, and it just sits and you leave it to sit there in its own juices, it will start to ferment. It's just nature's way of breaking down the fruit and this and that.
And that's wild yeast. And so also,
exactly.
if
so then it doesn't matter where you are in the world. I think even Antarctica, you probably have yeast in the air. So that's always, it's in your home. You're breathing it right now. There's yeast everywhere. So those yeasts will ferment sugars into alcohol, but they're generally tolerant up to, just wild yeast in general are tolerant up to 5, maybe you get lucky up to 10% alcohol, but then after that they start to peter out because alcohol is can be toxic for yeast. Also,
and the most important thing, well, one of the most important things is healthy yeast during your fermentation for a great wine.
As soon as they're
key.
Exactly, so they're eating sugar and converting it into alcohol. If they're stressed, if they're unhappy, then they're converting it to alcohol, but they also, some of the other byproducts aren't what you're looking for. They'll off-gas like weird flavors, and it's just not conducive to best wines at all times. So
you can get lucky, and there are wines that people swear by.
I'll get into that in a second, but
I have more questions, so
I know,
I was like, click along.
Well, you made me go into this. So there's labs that have like developed yeast and like bred them to be more alcohol tolerant, more tolerant to SO2, which is preservative that we use often. There's like lots of things, different ways, heat tolerances, things like that, so that they go through a fermentation fully robust and not stressed. So so we get what we want from that. What we do also though is we put our grape skins out in the vineyard afterwards, and so all those dead yeast hulls aren't dead necessarily. There's live active yeast still in there, and so they dry out, they float around. That becomes your natural yeast in your vineyard. So in theory, we could, at least with our vineyard grapes, we could probably do a wild fermentation, which would just be crush them up and let the yeast that are on the skins already start the fermentations, and they will probably yield something amazing, because the wild yeasts that are now in our vineyard are the yeasts that are tolerant to all these things. A lot of them are anyway.
But another thing that I think is really fantastic
long story
about
shorter.
is another nuance that is specific yeasts for specific wines, and that Jesse and Chris tailor it to what they tend to seed from the grapes that are coming from New Mexico. And so if they need a little more aromatics, you can choose a yeast for that. And that is where the artistic brush strokes of a winemaker come into play that are so unique and amazing. So
exactly. Some yeast kind of yield something slightly spicier or something like that. So like we'll choose a spicier yeast for a Cabernet Franc and our Syrah, because we want to highlight the natural things that are in the grape. We want to accentuate them so that all of our wines don't taste exactly kind of the similar. You know what I mean? Like we want variety.
Yes.
We want different tasting wines. Yeah.
Well done. I love what you did. I'm a super fan. Great question. Thank you for writing that in. Next one is, do you guys make older vintages available for purchase? Which wines do you hold back? So this was actually very specific about our rosé, because we just won a double gold at the rosé competition. It is right. Nothing like a double gold that says that it's the best for the best, and it was 100% rosés from around the world. And so it is an incredible kudo. That was the 2019 that we had sent in, so of course now everybody wants it. And we're sold out! Sorry!
We sold out like the week that we got that award. We're like, dang it!
And the thing to understand is that you send in the wine months and months before, and it was a very popular wine throughout the summer, so all of you guys could tell that it was going to be a double gold, because
we sent
everybody
this wine
bought
in.
it.
Yeah,
like
we sent
crazy.
this wine in before we had our current vintage bottles. So
Yeah. What are you going to do?
Exactly.
But do you ever save whites back? How do you decide what you're going to save back?
we save
back reds pretty much. Sometimes we save back some rosé if we can. We were not able to on this one because 15 people called us that day, and we had to.
what we were planning to save back, we couldn't, and so we won't have that vintage to see how long it ages or whatever.
Rosés and whites in general aren't meant to
Be aged that long, so we don't really.
we pretty much sell through them.
If we have an inkling that it might last a little bit, sometimes we hold back a case so that we could,
try it for the next
3 or 4 years. But we don't have like a 10-year-old white, for instance. So there would just be a brown nastiness. I wouldn't want to do it myself anyway.
But we did just taste a 2004 Cabernet Sauvignon that's 17 years old.
Exactly.
That is 17 years old. That is amazing for so many reasons. Most wineries are not capable of making wines that hold and last that long. Of course, you've heard about
older than our oldest child.
Yeah, it's but
older than our youngest child too.
Well, because we only have wine that's clever. But you've heard of Bordeaux's or those wines that just age endlessly. But those are built very specifically and are not tolerable when they're young. You actually can't drink it. It tastes terrible. So it's a really interesting thing. And when you look back, 2004, did you think that Cabernet was going to be amazing in 17 years?
Well, back then, maybe I thought that then,
But looking back now, I wouldn't think that back then I could have made a wine that could be
17 years.
So I was pretty stoked that it's holding up so well. And a
That's
couple years ago, we tried
we got married.
Right? A couple years ago, we had an 05 in New York with some people, with
some wine riders. 05, 09, 13, I can't remember, but and they loved it. So we know that our Cabernet is lasting.
we also hold back
Any red that we think has a potential to age at all,
and we try to do it with even the ones that don't,
just to reconfirm ourselves, But we don't taste them for a while, for like 6 or 8 years, and then we start opening a bottle every once in a while.
And we don't have the space to hold a whole bunch, but
it's just 1 or 2 cases usually.
And we have, on occasion, released library wines.
Yeah.
And it is a little bit rare, but we do that, and maybe it's about time that we look through our inventory and see if there's something.
Yeah, let's do it again here this fall, this winter, when we get a second.
Another thing is, if you come to our picking party, that's usually where we can be talked into releasing a bottle or two.
It's not only y'all that are drinking, it's us that are drinking too.
And then you guys start talking about how much you love a certain wine, and before we know it, we're digging out some
old
ancient bottle, and so we'll try to get better at this. Holding it back and releasing, I think that's a really great comment, and I love that there are people out there wanting those older wines, and so we'll try it.
We'll try.
Yeah. All right.
We'll do better.
Oh, the 2019, another really quick point. I will be pouring it at the American Wine Society National Conference.
Yeah.
I
She held some back they were not allowed to touch.
clawed onto
She already knew we were going to run out at some point before her
class.
thing in October, her class in October, and she was
November.
like, November, so she's like, this case is mine for over there,
So I'll be doing a rosé class that will be showcased. So go to New Jersey. It's in Atlantic City this year, and you can taste it there.
She's giving a class for like hundreds and hundreds of people. This thing is amazing. People from all over the world. She's scared to death. the syllabus, the courses just came out today, so she's looking through those like, really, I gotta be up against like, dry German wines. Like, this is nuts.
You should have picked my class. I want to take those other classes.
Right.
No, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be really fun. But it is really going to be interesting. All right. The next one is, what is new with your winemaking this year? Gadgets and toys.
Gadgets and toys like crazy. All right, so we bought a press, but it's not the press that we ordered won't be stateside in time for our crush. So we got a loaner press, but that's also it's an exact model of the one that we're gonna get, but just a tad smaller. So we're gonna get to learn how to use it, which is gonna be amazing. We also got a grape elevator, which is boring. But that's going to help us change a few things and use less
Kill yourself.
less back power, less buckets, things like that. So
which is really important.
right. So every year we're trying to make it easier on ourselves through some kind of mechanized something or other. Now that we can kind of get there or whatever. So we've got like a whole new crush setup. So it's going to be
so
a learning curve,
exciting.
of course. The other thing, we're always tweaking a little something. Like if, last year we had some wines that I was just like, if we just did this or that, I think if we, so a little bit better each year, hopefully.
Which is why you're winning double golds and crushing it.
Yeah, crushing it. We do crush the grapes. It's awesome.
Well, it's super exciting, and I think that all those little things that help you guys not be so beat up and worn down by the end of crush adds to your ability to get through another year.
We used to get off a crush and we were like just destroyed until like December. We could like finally like sleep, caught up on our sleep and we were
Right.
just emotionally like, okay, I could be a dad and a husband again.
Yeah, and it's always during this period of crush when everybody wants to have their wedding and wants to have an event and a winemaker dinner.
So your area of our business is super busy too.
It is, and also very tenuous with, you guys want to do a dinner in the middle of crush when everything's like gone wrong, things
We're like,
great.
no.
Yeah.
It's like, sorry, you have to. We're like, oh, damn it.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
And then our poor child too. Like every year, she starts school the day that we get busy, and we're like, yeah, sorry, I'm not here to help you at all through the emotionally or like, hey, having a rough time. Good luck figuring that out. So
Yeah.
we're all like we're all so beat by like by October 1st we don't know what we're doing.
It is a true labor of love. All right. What is your favorite part of winemaking, and what do you hate?
Favorite part is fermentation, because it's just wild to me that you just see science happening, you see nature happening right in front of you, and you're like, oh my god, this is amazing. You see grapes, and a week later, literally, like, you're pressing off, and it's wine.
That's so cool.
Every time, like that, the juice, the wine coming out of the press, the red, when you're doing a red wine, coming out of the press, it's already wine. It's 100%. There may be 1% residual sugar, maybe not. But I always like have several glasses of wine, just because it marvels me. Like I just can't believe that grape juice is now like wine and a product. Like most people would taste it and be like, oh my god, it's so rough and nasty. I call it pokey because it's like it's not cohesive. It's not like smooth and awesome yet. But
it is amazing what the aging process does
Yeah.
as well, and your choices
Yeah.
in the aging process also add to what you end up with in the final bottle, but
I still sit there. Like, I've got all last year's vintage sitting 20 feet away, and I still choose to taste the stuff that's coming right out of the press the whole time. So
it is very exciting. I don't know what you're trying to tell us.
I got it.
Oh, okay. And then, what do you hate?
Oh yeah. You know what? We have like half of our job is cleaning things, and it's you could just clean and clean and clean and clean. I was cleaning today, and it's like, oh my god, there's so much cleaning. I didn't even get close to the bottom of it, but just had to make the place look better and feel better, and get some of the dirty things out of the way. But it's, you know, next time I build a winery, I'm definitely putting in a dishwasher. That's gonna be awesome.
Oh.
So we're like sitting there field washing all of our, you know, with the hose. Then that's hard on your back because you're.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots of little things that.
That's
washing.
when you get an intern and then you make them do all that.
Yeah,
We have a production assistant.
Nope.
Like, nope.
All right. So, how do you know when a wine is ready?
It's never ready. It's always time to drink wine, but it's never ready. To drink wine, right? So.
So when do you decide to put it in bottle?
right.
When we're out of the other one? No.
When we. All right. So we try to have an average of 12 months in barrel for red wines. Some of them are 18 months, maybe 24 months, something like that. They'll go in a bottle kind of immediately thereafter. You know, they have to settle out a little bit and filter and stuff like that. But to me, it's kind of it's going into bottle before it's ready to be drunk, really. You know,
But it's drinkable.
It's drinkable.
It is,
it's at an age.
we aren't going to put something in bottle that's
Exactly.
not drinkable, and we wouldn't drink ourselves, or
Exactly.
you know, we want it at a certain level before
Exactly.
we put it in bottle.
You know, ideally it would be, you know, for a red wine, ideally it would be 18 months in oak, put in bottle, 6 months in the bottle, and then it's totally ready to start happening. It doesn't get those like awesome aged caramely notes until like maybe a year and a half after bottling or a year after bottling. So basically, as we're selling out of a vintage, it's usually like really starting to shine.
I totally agree, and it is a little bit, unfortunately, back to that, what do we hold back? We kind of want you guys to hold it back, and that's rough, but
a little bit.
oh
you know?
man.
I always say buy 3 bottles, one to drink now, one to drink a year from now, and one to drink 2 years from now. Like that would be the ideal trajectory for a.
I personally think you should buy 12 and do the same thing.
Right, 3. Exactly, but drink 3 now, drink 3 a year from now, 3 a year from after that. And 3 a year after that.
Exactly.
That'd be perfect.
Well, and we
Be
have
really
people
exciting.
that write in and say,
Yeah.
you know, I have been storing this and my cellar just pulled it out and it was amazing, and I'm so jealous that we don't have it.
Exactly. Yeah, our wines are like just insanely good at about 5, 6, 8 years, somewhere in there.
Or 17!
And then 17 is,
years.
you know, but it did peak. It's on its way down, obviously. To
It
me.
is beautiful.
It
It
was,
had
yeah.
great fruit still, which
Yeah.
was shocking. I mean, if you have a 2004, which I doubt anybody does, but if you do, definitely drink it now.
The Refosco from that same vintage is amazing right now.
Yeah, just incredible. The Dolcetto, which we don't make anymore, but that had aged really, really well too. But, alright. Well, the peak versus bottling versus whatever, you know, like, it's difficult to judge that.
Yeah.
And it's not the same for every winery or every wine. So it is a really good idea, even if you buy your wine from Trader Joe's or something, or Whole Foods, that you look up their website. They often will tell you some ageability, or you can email them. We welcome you to email us.
Yep.
And
you're gonna get like 100 emails. Yes, drink it now. No, hold on, 2 more years. Yes, now.
I love hearing from you guys. Michelle with 1L at vivocwinery.com. So that's not Michelle with one L all written out. It is just Micheale.
There you go.
At vivocwinery.com. I realized as I was saying that, I was like, that's going to be confusing. Send us messages. It'd be great. All right. So we got to come to the end.
Okay.
September 2nd. That's our next Fern Between Us. And we're open to your topic suggestions. We will be doing a tasting of the Wine Club wines again. So let us know what you want to learn about. As always, buy a bottle, plant a tree.
Right?
Buy a tree and plant it.
We planted almost 3,200 trees this month, so.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Through the EdenProjects.org.
Yep.
So check it out. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much, you guys.
Cheers.
YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh. Yes, and you should see older episodes if you need some entertainment on our YouTube channel.
Nice. Cheers, you guys. Have a good one.